This is the April 26th meeting of the Winthrop Town Council. This meeting is being televised live on WCAT, and it will be played again periodically throughout the next week or two. Could I ask Councilor Terry to lead us in Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Shall we take a roll call?
Council Ingman, Council Callow. Present. Council Sanford.
Here.
Council Boncory, Council Barone, Council Boyagin. Here. Council Del Vento.
Yep.
Vice President Lettieri.
Here.
President Driscoll.
Here. Thank you. Okay, as we start the meeting, I want to first wish a happy Passover to all of the people in Winthrop who are celebrating Passover right now. It's a great holiday, a lot of family activities going on, and I just want to, on behalf of the council, wish everybody the best during this holiday period. If we could approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Motion. Second.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, good. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. We have a number of things to discuss this evening. I'm going to ask if it's okay with the council that we go out of order to start with appointments rather than begin the public hearings. We'll do the public hearings after the appointments, if that's okay with everybody. That's not the order of the agenda. The appointments this evening, we have a couple of committees that we're appointing folks to. The first one is the Economic Development Citizens Advisory Committee. This is the committee that's going to advise the council and the Economic Development Committee of the council in the process of looking at options for things like the middle school, for center redevelopment and things of that nature. And I'll say that the response to that, the request for people to participate in that committee was overwhelming. It was really, really good. We have 9 folks that we can appoint to that, I can appoint to that, and yet we've had probably 15, 16 resumes, applications, which I was really moved by. It's great to see that people want to participate in the community, and it also made it difficult to choose people to be on that committee. But I'd come up with a list of folks, and I'm going to read their names. And I could go through all of their resumes and experience. It's extensive, and it's a great group of people. But let me just go through the names first. It's Robert Carroll, Diane Mackin, Joseph Clark, Margaret Carr, Brenda Christopher, Lisa Alberghini, Michael Lucerdo, Peter Gill, and Jane Schmelinsky, I'm sorry. Those are the folks out of the group that sent in applications that we've asked to participate in this, and it's a great group. I mean, in the way that the committee was created, we wanted to have people who had experience in real estate development, some people who had experience in the center business area, as well as residents in the community. And we have, I think, filled all of those positions in that way. So I'm really happy that all of these folks, they have some great experience here that's really going to be beneficial to that committee. So I think, thank you very much for all of you. Some of them are here this evening. I won't ask you to stand unless you want to, but thank you very much for being here, and thank you for agreeing to participate in this. So this committee is going to start quickly. I think Joe Domilovich is hoping that we can approve this evening, and we have some meetings already lined up for the folks who are going to be appointed to this committee. So what I'd like to do is make a motion for that group of folks to be appointed to this committee.
Second. So make the motion.
Make a motion?
Yes.
Second? Okay. All those in favor of those appointments, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent.
I just would like to, if the people could stand up so that people out there could see who they
Sure,
are.
I
I mean,
should
they
have
might
done
like
that.
to know who they are.
Introduce
you
each
know.
one.
They're not all here. I think Is Mark Peggy Carr here? Peggy's there. Peggy, stand up. You're on TV. Lisa's here. Lisa Alberghini. Michael Lacerdo. And Peter Gill. Everyone knows Peter. And Jane. And Brenda's here. How did I miss Brenda? Thank you very much. And again, thank you very much for participating in that. Joe, did we have a date picked for that first kickoff meeting?
I believe that the clerk had run the dates, the suggested dates by Mass Development and MAPC by the candidates, and I'm waiting to hear which date was the best date, and we will advertise it. It's a lot,
Yeah.
and then set the date, get that started.
Yeah.
So the initial meeting will be a kickoff meeting for the for this committee to kind of meet with the project partners, Mass Development, MAPC, and the design firm or form in place. So, but it's open to the public, and everybody can come and listen to how the process will play out. So.
Good. Thank you. Council Biaggi?
Joe, will they have access to kind of what's been done already up to this point, so they can look at, the progress that's been made over the past couple of years or whatnot?
Yeah, they'll have access to all the information that Jim and I have compiled over the last couple of years, and actually the whole office has compiled over the last couple of years. But really, this is the very beginning parts of forming the plan, and so this will bring them up to speed on what we've kind of collected, what's been discussed, but no plans have been made. And then the planning partners will kind of lay out a scheduled meetings, kind of what we're hoping to accomplish and how quickly. This is a very condensed timeline. We're trying to get the entire plan completed by next fall, so.
Councilor
around running.
Yeah, Councilor Sanford?
Yeah, obviously, I'm very excited about the group. I think it's a well-rounded group. It's going to be fast-paced. We're trying to accomplish a lot in a little bit of time, and I know everybody who's on the committee is committed to this project. Also, there may be some subcommittees going forward. I know we had a big turnout at a couple of the meetings in the center with 25, 30 people, and a lot of people were interested, but there may be some other subcommittees and some other positions that might be filled going forward. So we'll keep that in mind as we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for participating. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We did it first in case you don't want to. There is also another committee that we've created, and that's the Transportation Committee, to Russ's point, Councilor Sanford's point. And, that's a committee that was created to really kind of focus on just the transportation aspects of economic development and all of the things that are impacted by transportation issues in the community. And I think that, so we have one appointment to make for that committee, and that is Christopher Aiello. Christopher's a great guy. He's volunteered to participate in this, and I'd like to follow the same procedure and ask the council for a motion to appoint Christopher to the Transportation Committee. Motion. And second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And again, to Councilor Sanford's point, we had so many great folks apply for the Economic Development Committee. I'll be reaching out to those folks who weren't able to appoint to that committee to see if there's interest in any of the other committees that we have in the town, including the Transportation Committee. I think, so I'll be doing that over the next week. Great. Okay, now back on schedule, we have a couple of public hearings that we need to go through. And the first public hearing is related to the work being done, the infrastructure work being done on Franklin Street. And I'll read the motion that is going to be dealt with later regarding that. And the motion is to move that the council vote the use of sewer retained earnings in the amount of $400,000 for the purpose of replacing sewer mains on Franklin Street, pending MWRA loan authorization, or take any other action thereto. So I'll open the public hearing on that motion. Is there any?
Yeah, we are applying for zero interest loans for that. We're eligible for funding through the MWRA, and in addition, we're looking to use retained earnings to supplement for the cost of the sewer infrastructure for Franklin and Harvard streets using this. We've been in the streets already. It's necessary to button up that entire area.
Yep.
So we're doing quite a bit of work all around there to make sure that when we do have to make street improvements, that we don't forget that what's under the street is just, if not more important than the street itself. So fix what needs to be fixed under the street if we have plans to repair the street itself or the sidewalks. So it was discovered over the past few months that this additional work was necessary to make these improvements, given what we've discovered of fairly weak pipe. And so we're doing our due diligence, if you will, to make sure that that infrastructure is replaced so that we can get on with closing up the area with new pavement and sidewalk.
Yep. Good, thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Mr. President, the Council of Finance Subcommittee met earlier today and recommended positive action for this.
Okay, great, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments regarding that? Okay, hearing none, I'll close that public meeting and we'll open the next one, which is a transfer from the water meter upgrade account. And this is, the motion reads to move that the town council transfer $250,000 from the water meter upgrade project fund 900 to fund 902, water fund article 90252580026 to fund the Radiohead meter project or take any other action relative thereto. Is there any comment?
Yeah, you're well aware of this project. It's ongoing. We've replaced almost all the modules in town. Now we're well into replacing meters and the necessary fixtures. We still have some time to go, but we're making good progress, and this continues that effort for the DPW. We're probably saving the community roughly $3 million by doing it in-house. It's a longer process, but the good news that I got a report last week from Director Calla that we're now live with our computer-based reading entirely of the town, which is really a tremendous success for the DPW and for the town. And now we can get real-time data on any water usage of anyone in the community. And that serves everyone's benefit, not just the town, but the residents who, you know, if they're snowbirds, for example, and they want to know if they've got a leak or something in their home, they can call us up and we can go live and see what activity is going on with their water. We can anticipate leaks a lot better with this kind of data. It gives us a lot of ability to be more proactive and less reactive when it comes to water improvements and identifying areas of weakness in the system. So it's a tremendous effort, and I really applaud Steve Callan and his team for taking this on and sticking to it as they have, and making the progress that they have over this time. But this continues that effort.
Any other questions, comments?
President, and as with the other item, the Finance Subcommittee met earlier tonight in recommended positive action by the council on this.
Good, thank you. Councilor Terry?
I just had a quick question. With all the improvements that we've been making and ongoing, have we seen an impact in our lost water?
Not yet. It's still early to tell. We're still struggling with about, I'd say, a delta of 15% to maybe 18% of water loss, if you will, water loss, and we're trying to determine how we can tackle that subject. It's a sensitive subject. We still have identified some issues that we've taken care of as we've gone into properties and determined what's going on and made some fixes of things, but we still have a delta of 15 to 18, so it's a bit uncertain as to why that magnitude of loss is triggered by the system. But we're working on it, and as we go along, we expect to be able to chew on that number a bit further when we get into the rest of the homes in the community and make the meter changes out.
The problem with unaccounted for water is that it's the sum of everything in the system. So one section of leaky pipe under a street can cause part of it, and you fix that, and so that's going to be a portion of it. But then the pressure buildup from that could cause another pipe to leak, because now that pipe was on the verge of failure, and so it starts to have a cascade effect throughout the entire system, much like whack-a-mole type problems.
Just one follow-up. What is an average lost water in a municipality?
So I don't know what the average is. I know that the MWRA has guidelines on maximums that they would like to see, and we are over that threshold. I believe that it is 7%, but I'm not completely confident on that number.
And what's that in terms of dollars? That we're,
It's
you know, that
substantial.
15
It's substantial. Just,
million?
well, yeah, sure. I mean, well, I wouldn't say that, but when you talk about 15% of your water is lost water for a year, and we're a $2.5 million water service. It's not small numbers.
Can I just ask a question? So with this transfer and this, what is the status of the project? How many more meters need to be installed, or where are we at percentage?
We have probably about 700 more today, from what I recall.
That's almost done.
Oh, yeah. We've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
It'll go for another year, the project.
Yeah. Will this this transfer cover the rest of it? or
No,
will
you'll
there be-
see some more
There'll be more.
going forward. Yeah, we do it on a sort of an à la carte basis.
Okay. Good. Are there any other questions or comments regarding this at this open meeting? Hearing none? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Would you?
I'm sorry, when you say open meeting, I can speak?
On the public.
I'm sorry, this is a public hearing on this
okay.
matter.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I put them up as much as I can, but you all talk very well.
I've been told by others I need to speak more loudly.
Let me know when I can speak.
Okay. Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay, great. I'm going to close this public hearing, and we'll move on now to the next section of the meeting, which is public comment. So if there are any folks in the audience who wish to say anything? Yeah, there you go. It's your turn.
As you noticed, I have a 4th of July shirt,
Very nice.
so you can get the idea of why. And I took a lot out of this because I didn't want people to get bored. But I have some comments regarding the change of the date of the town fireworks. They, according to what I read in the paper, set up for the 3rd instead of the 4th. And most of the people that I've spoken to, I did not bring a crowd tonight, but I have agreed that there is no reason to have it. It was, for years, we have always had the fireworks on the last night. And I know a lot of people have to get up and go to work. But guess what? If you have it the night before and it ends up as a mess, and who's going to clean it up for the next day when we set up for, the different prize writing and things like that? I just, I read this a few weeks ago. If I didn't read the transcript from front to back, I never would have realized it. And I just don't think that it's right. I don't see any reason for us to have it that night. We're gonna have down Point Shirley 4 nights. And that's the way it is, especially when there's on a long weekend like we have. They'll have Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and then Monday night. And Monday is actually the 4th of July. And I just, as I say, I don't see why we basically change something that's always worked. And usually, if we do that, this is how people that I have talked to. If we have the lights go on, let's say, the 3rd, it means that these people are not going to leave. Yes, the police can ask them to leave the park, and everybody can, but they'll just go back because they don't have to get up the next day. Our best thing is the fact that when we have the fireworks the next day, people, not everybody has to go to work or doesn't have to, go to school, not school so much, but anything else. So I just don't realize as to why. You're bringing up 4 nights and 3 days of partying, and most of it is down Point Shirley. It doesn't mean it's all just us in Point Shirley. A lot of people go down there. And I think that, I just don't think that, I think that it should be the way it should be, that same day. I mean, I hope they haven't made up shirts that say the day before, because that could be a problem. And I've got a couple of other things.
That's the truth.
Many of us in Point Shirley have been there for years and years and years, and there hasn't been big problems, as far as the fireworks or anything. The 4th of July, I did read this part, I'm not going to bore you about the fire. The 4th of July is a special day. It is amazing the number of people who grew up in Point Shirley come back for the 4th. They come from cities, they come from states. I don't know, I don't know 20 people staying at my house, I'm not sure. But anyway, they're people that grew up in the point. Yes, other people do come in, and we expect them to respect our town, our part of town, let's say. Anyway, for years, 1 day was sufficient for the 4th. Everything was done. We had the parade, we had then everything that went on down the park, everybody got their little goodie bags. People would sometimes go to the beach, or they'd go, everybody's house is open. In other words, everybody's cooking and eating and maybe going to the beach or going to somebody's pool. And then they come back and have a barbecue and then go back down to the park. And I just, it's amazing that the people that come back, that fly out, drive from other states just to be here on the 4th of July. And if they don't get here, and it's on the 3rd, and they don't get here in time, they've just not wasted because they'll be part of it. I just see no reason at all. And I'm not the only one, but as I said, there are people that have said to me, get a petition and everything like that. I said, no, I'm just going to go and I'm going to say, I don't know who runs it, basically, or anything like that. But all I can say is this, that we're going to have 4 nights, and that's not easy, because those kids never get tired unless their parents drag them in the house. And what we want is it be a happy, nice day. And a lot of people put a lot of work into their floats and things like that. And the night before, and we did it for years, we were working on our floats. So instead, you want to go down and watch the fires? No. You want to get your floats done, you want to get your children into bed, and you kind of just get them in there and promise them that the next night they can see the fireworks. So anyway, all I can say is that I really hope that it can be the same day. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be, as far as I'm concerned. It, to me, makes a lot more efforts for a lot of people to balance it on 2 different days. And the next day, people can go and pick up. And if there is, usually there isn't, because by the 4th night, they're tired, especially older people are tired with younger people. They want to get home. So I appreciate you listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that comment. I don't know if anyone on the council or in the audience can comment at all on the timing or the choice of the timing?
Between the MWRA and fireworks, I can't run for anything in precinct 3. But this was difficult, you know, it was un-American to have them on the 3rd. Two things we have. Everybody has different nights they have the fireworks. We, the police chief and myself, you know, we do Santa Claus on Christmas Eve, and on the 4th of July, we're also working when everybody is celebrating. The 3rd of July, since I was old enough to go out after dark, it's been a crazy night down Point Shirley. We worked very hard over the years to calm it down to it has been. But our feeling was Friday night, Saturday night, just as they spoke, Sunday night are going to be busy nights. We're hoping everybody's home by 6 on the 4th of July, including us. And that was our reasoning behind it. The public safety cost, we have contractual agreements with our unions. The night before the 4th and the 4th, we have extra personnel on for the simple reason that they spoke to. They're busy nights, they've always been busy nights. If we continue to have it the 3rd, the night before the 4th, and we continue it right through Monday night, it has a huge financial cost to us, as well as we're freezing people that whole weekend, so we have sufficient staff to handle the crowd that comes into town. As I go out and get bids, because these fireworks are all financed through they're the people's fireworks. The town picks up the public safety side of it, but the fireworks and the cost of the fireworks are completely covered by residents and many non-residents. We get donations from everywhere. But with that all being said, as we price out the fireworks too, we are fighting with every other community that they can only shoot off so many shows on the 4th of July. So as prices escalated, public safety costs would escalate if we saw the opportunity that as we're staffing up, it would be much better to shoot them on the 3rd. 4th of the night, the lights are out at 6 o'clock. But for anyone to think that by shooting them off on the 4th, that Point Shirley's going to be quiet and everybody's going to be asleep at 9 o'clock is a fallacy, because, you know, we're running around crazy down the point till 3 in the morning. So we just thought that having them the night of the 3rd is just one more night that, you know, we're not stressing public safety with overtime and apparatus and other things down the point. But I think we collaborated, you know, I had mentioned it to numerous groups, including the police department, and we were in agreement.
Okay.
You know,
Police chief?
again, he's doing a fine job getting hot water all by himself, but, you know, it is a long weekend, and, you know, we spend about $15,000 to $18,000 on the 3rd and 4th of July when it's 2 nights. So there is an increased cost, and we do expect, you know, some of our budget to be not what we asked for. So certainly those considerations are played back and forth. But again, it's the people's fireworks, and we'll be prepared and ready if the date changes.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Can I ask a question then? Then how do you change the date?
We all work for people. We don't work for a boss. And certainly, you know, he works for people, the 9 that are up before us. So certainly, I think there'll be some give and take and discussion and reevaluation.
Do any councilors have a comment?
And when do we start this?
Mrs. McGee?
Okay. I support my sister. She's right.
I'm not surprised.
We all work. We put that whole thing together. We've done it for years. And Point Shirley has always been, oh, you're from the Point? Well, you know, what's the story? We only do one big thing, and that's it. And it's cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody. We're a big family. And it's the one big thing that we do. And she's right. You change it, and you change an awful lot down the point. And let's face it, all of a sudden, I realized something the other day, that our beach down the point is getting so crowded because no one can go up to Shore Drive anymore. Oh, and the parking, right? I watch people come up my hill, I live on the top of Hale, and park where it says no parking. And this is gonna stop, I'm telling you that right now. Not again. But, you know, there are other things that go on in the town, but this is a big thing. This is Point Shirley. We've been around a long, long time, and that parade has been, wow, back in,
I think from the
we have pictures.
1920s.
No, it goes back 1908.
1908.
There's a picture of it. So, I mean, let us have our parade the way it should be, and the 4th of July. Okay, so it costs a little money. I mean, we're paying it in taxes anyhow, believe me.
Thank you.
But she's right.
Thank
I
you.
may not always agree with her, but she is right.
And as a matter of fact, in my pocketbook is a picture from the 4th of July when I was 14. And the 6 of us that are in there are still friends after all these years. I carry that with me everywhere I go. And I mean, because it is. The point means a lot to us.
Well, let me, I'm not sure of what the process is for choosing that date, but let me ask, is the date set in stone?
Well,
Has enough work been done already?
Well, we have contracts in place, okay?
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll reach out, but to be honest, you know, these ladies pack a punch, but they're the only 2 people that so far I've heard from.
Oh, you want to get, we'll get some more.
Okay. Here you go. Chief, you really, Chief, you really need to say that?
There'll be a visiting call.
Yes. I had people call me. They wanted me to get the petition.
Did he really say that?
And there, many people have called me and said, we'll be happy to do it. But I didn't want to bring in a crowd and have everybody back and
thank you.
forth.
I appreciate your comments. I think we all appreciate
So-
that, and this is really the first time that I'm hearing about
And,
that. But it might,
everybody that calls me, I say, then you want it, then you send some money in.
Thank you.
I think that, Town Manager?
Yes, I'm going to make a recommendation to the council that we change the date to July 4th.
They've lit the fuse? Is that what
And
we're saying?
we'll figure out our consequences.
Yeah.
You want to check with the chief?
We're going to help Chief Flanagan run for something in Precinct 3.
I grew up in Precinct 3. I love the point.
I mean, is that our
Spent many a
decision to
flight.
make?
Recommend-
I think he's got
Take it
enough.
out.
Can we get,
Can we look into the, into what would be involved in changing the date, and if it's
Well-
realistic or?
Yeah.
Well, again, you know, whether you like it or not, big business didn't play into it.
Yeah.
But our biggest contributors are Massport, and Sunday night's their slowest night. You know, when I said we talked with a lot of people, they were very advantageous for a Sunday night. All of the yacht clubs that are packed played into it, and they're all big donators. They're in the top 5 donators because it's profitable to have fireworks and people can hang around. So we were playing to the masses, so we thought. You know, we were trying to make the majority of people happy. The 4th, you know, the night before the 4th is, you know, Point's famous for their cookouts the night before the 4th. So we really thought we're doing the right thing. Do I know if we have the wiggle room to jump on the 4th? I can't guarantee that. When we look into it, we will.
Why don't we leave it as a request to look into that, to see if there's an opportunity to change that, and if there is, we come back and talk about that, maybe at the next meeting. Sure. If
And
that
I
would be
will
okay.
speak to everybody who says they'll sign something, then sign a check.
Council Biaggi?
no, I mean, it'd be great then, between now and then, if we could get other people's opinions, if they felt, you know, either likewise, or if they prefer the 3rd. You know.
Many of the people, I just didn't come up because
No,
many people that I have talked to have said, you know, we didn't, the thing is, the article was so small in the paper, if you don't read the whole paper, So I think a lot of, I at first thought it was a mistake, but until I looked into it. But I don't think it would, at least the people will be very happy to have it the way it always has.
Well, I think the best we can do is to look at what will be involved in changing it, and we'll ask the chief to get back to us on that, and if it's possible, we'll consider it.
Which chief?
Fire chief.
All emails and phone calls to the fire chief.
It's a better request than we're wanting to have them at 7:30. I couldn't do it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for those comments. Very helpful and effective. Yes, sir.
Jim Fabiano, I'm just here tonight in favor of putting the ballot question for Miller Field on this coming June. I don't know the exact date. But I also want to inform the council that we have a committee up and running. We're all set with the town clerk, with account open, so we're ready. We're hopeful that you decide to vote yes and put it on the ballot this June. We see no reason to put it off till September, October, November. Whatever we're going to do, we can do from today till June. If you put it off till September and October, we're just going to wait 2-3 months to do what we have to do. There's no positives in putting it off. So we hope today that you vote yes and put it on the ballot.
Thank you.
Peter
Gill.
Precinct 5. I'd like to echo Mr. Fabiano's sentiments. I'd like to urge the council to vote to put it on the ballot, special election in June.
Okay. Thank you. Superintendent Massaro.
Thank you. John Massaro, Superintendent, 43 Dolphin Ave. Two things I'd like to bring up. One, first of all, I would like to support, I know in the past, the ballot question, and I do support it, and I would like to see that it go on in June if possible. I think that that does work in the best interest for the community and the town. Secondly, I'd like to just add that, as you all know, the town scholarship has been renamed the Rona Mail Town Scholarship, and I just wanted to urge folks that if they'd like to donate to the Rona Mail Town Scholarship, we would certainly appreciate that, as that award will be given out on graduation day, and we just wanted to remind people of that. We know that it is in on the tax bills, but we also wanted to make sure that people were aware. So, thank you.
Good, thank you. Superintendent Sullivan. Not Superintendent. Whoops.
So, John Sullivan, Precinct 5. I'm here as a mother and a resident and a taxpayer, and I do urge you to move forward with the Miller Fields plans as soon as we can get this up and running. And also, as the chairperson of the school committee, I make a commitment to the town and to work collaboratively with the town council for any project, maintenance, and any further planning that needs to be done. I think that it's important that this is a collaborative effort from the town council and the school committee, and not sort of a you do this and we'll do that kind of a thing. And I really want to work together, and I know that I am speaking for the entire school committee when I say that.
Thank you very much. Councilor Cowell.
From the last time we discussed this, and it was voted down that it wouldn't be put on the ballot that we just had. The thought was that your group needed more time to get the word out. But it doesn't seem like anything's been put out there. It doesn't seem like you're going to have any more time between now and May than you did before when we brought it up the first time. Some people are kind of curious as to know when they're going to start seeing some information. Do you know when that's going to start? Yeah.
Is that to me?
To whoever,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I can go first and you can. I think that it's been presented at school committee, Mr. Cowley presented at school committee, he presented it to you folks. That's all on public record. I know that maybe you're meaning like bumper stickers and
I
things
think
like
in
that.
the newspaper, has there been anything?
And I think what you're hearing from Mr. Fabiano is that his committee is ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's just like any other committee, there's only so much money, so we can't start spending money on newspaper ads and things like that if we don't know what's going to be on the ballot. why would we spend the money today if the ballot's not gonna be until September? So as soon as we get that date, we already have a bunch of money raised, we'll be out there, we'll have our coffee hours, we'll have our ads, we'll have everything that we did the last time. We did name it Winthrop's Worth It, getting the same name as it was for the middle high school, so.
No,
You should give us a date, we're up and running, we're ready to
Don't
go.
misunderstand me, it wasn't your group. It
No.
just seemed like everybody thought on the council that you needed all this extra time, so that it couldn't be on the other ballot because you didn't have enough time.
And we said this the last time too, is we want a sprint, not a marathon. The
Right.
quicker and the sooner it is, the
Yeah.
better it is for us, we can stay focused. These last couple of weeks, we haven't been focused because we don't know where we're
Right.
going.
No,
We
I
don't know the
understand,
finish line.
that's
No, I'm glad
exactly
we're
my
able to get
point,
that.
yeah,
Definitely.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Beckier?
Ron Beckett, Precinct 6, last time I checked. It was in the transcript, front page article about 2 weeks ago, I think it was.
No, I mean the breakdown of, people want to know,
Okay. As far as the
What it
breakdown, I
might
think
cost.
the committee, to her credit, she mentioned the fact that we had a public hearing. We had a pretty big presentation at the last school committee meeting, and people could watch it on Channel 15. It's difficult to get something going if it hasn't been approved.
right.
You know, and we have to take the tack as the elected body of coming up with the actual plan. If it's approved and put, which I hope tonight you do put it on the ballot in next month, these guys take off and they stop publicizing it. So.
Councilor Sanford?
Yeah, no, I think it needs to happen as quickly as possible. I'm not sure, tonight we're going to discuss a little bit later, or now I'm not sure when, but relative to whether we need 2/3 of vote, and whether, am I correct on that?
We do need 2/3 of the council to vote.
Okay.
Even those who are not present this
Right.
evening. So we need 6
So we
votes
need
to
6
approve
votes.
it.
So our options tonight would be,
Our options tonight, it's on the agenda under new business,
Yeah.
so I think we were planning on bringing it up for a vote of the council.
Yeah.
And that would require six
Okay.
votes to move that forward.
you have to advertise. I think that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chief?
Just, you know, as a reminder, as we open this new school, someone that has walked this area certainly has seen other improvements that are desperately needed, Millersfield being one of them, and then the sidewalk right outside Millersfield needs to become ADA compliant. As we get ready to walk with the state agency about the new school this Thursday at 11 a.m. down there with the chairperson from the Commission on Disabilities from the state that dictate what handicap spots are. We really need to make our best effort to, within the next year, and to get this field ready and operating before fiscal 18. So I think the sooner the better. I think it actually ties in with some of Steve's projects, Mr. Calver's projects on Veterans Road, and it'll help us also with the ADA compliance on the curbs and sidewalks down in that area. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Are there any other comments? Good, okay, thank you. Any other, yeah. Frankie?
Yeah, please come on, I know everybody know me. And I want, Sean's not here tonight, I want you guys to prove I'll be there 26 years, head coach. And I know everybody need everything done. I want to, I've been here a long time, in case you need this, and in case you need this, need new field, new everything. John Michelle's here. I watch school committee. Every time I listen, Tim said we need for this. I need to prove it tonight to get this done. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Frankie.
Can't come to me, bring me here tonight to tell you that.
Just one last
Stephen
thing. I
Cowell.
just want to reiterate, now is the time. We're at 95% design. We got permitting should be in place. We're striving for August, and all we need is the people's vote and to know that this is something that they want. We're ready to go. We want to get this field done.
Since we're talking about this too, I'll just make one comment. And I think everybody realizes that this project needs to be done. I've never doubted that for a second. I don't think any councilors have either. The question about it has, in my mind, been timing. And and I'm inclined to go forward with this tonight in terms of my own vote. But I do that thinking that of all the people who've come up to me and expressed concern about their taxes, and that if this gets voted upon, that their taxes are going to go even higher. And so my only sense of this is that is timing. Are people ready to vote for this? And we'll find out if this vote goes through tonight, and if it does, fine. But I think there's a sentiment in the town that taxes have been high, they just went up, and I think we just have to, just have to realize that. And it makes it really important to get as much information out to people, to everybody, about this project, about what's involved in it, what is the cost to the taxpayer. It's critical to get that information out, and there's only 2 months before the 21st of June. So I think really got to talk about a sprint. You've got to really sprint. It's got to be a 40-yard dash, I think, so I just want to, that's I think what's on people's mind is the expense. We just incurred the expense of the new school, and I think we just have to be sensitive to that, and if we're going to move forward with this, we just have to make sure everybody is fully aware of every aspect of the project. Jim?
Just so you know, we had 2 months for the middle high school. There's a lot more information, a lot more detail to get out to the public, and we did it, and we did it successfully. So the 2 months from here till June, I see no problem with us getting the information out. I don't think it changes having more time. It's not going to change the people's minds that feel that the taxes are high already. The information will get out there in 2 months.
Yep, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just add that I know as well as any of you that we have challenges with revenue. But and probably most of you came to this meeting tonight with your decision already, and I'm not sure if anything I have to say will change your mind, but if we're going to go forward with this, now is the time. You're wondering when is the right time. Now is the time. And this is the team to do it. I have 100% faith in Mr. Fabiano and the team that he can put together. I have heard nothing but positive regard to moving forward with their field, with the people that I'm with, which are parents of elementary school children. That's who I am around, and those people want this to move forward. I am asking for your leadership tonight in voting in a positive manner.
Peter?
I just want to say that I was very concerned when the high school vote was coming up that we were doing it too quickly. And I have to commend these people who got onto this sprint, and much to my surprise, got that passed on a two-thirds vote. So I think this is the time, and I urge the council to vote. Thank you.
Okay. Any other, I think that was public comment. A lot of public comment. Okay, great. The next part of the meeting is correspondence. I don't have any correspondence to report on this evening. Committee reports, Finance Committee.
Mr. President, the Finance Committee met earlier today, and there are 2 items before us that are under old business that we're voting on tonight. One's the $400,000 use of retained earnings for sewer work on Franklin, and a $250,000 water meter upgrade transfer. The Finance Committee voted to move both of those with positive recommendations.
Thank you. I don't think there's a report from Economic Development.
No, we didn't have any scheduled meetings, so.
Okay, good. Town Manager's report.
Thank you. We had a very productive meeting this week with the new DCR Commissioner, Leo Roy. Myself and the Council President were in attendance with Speaker DeLeo, talking about the beach, Winthrop Beach. And I was pleased, and I'm certain that Council President, you can jump in on your own comments on this, but I was very pleased with the candor that the Commissioner brought to the conversation, recognizing the unfortunate condition of the beach and knowing that a lot more has to be done. He expressed regret as far as his agency is concerned in the way the matter has been communicated to the community. He takes responsibility for that and wants to come back to the town and acknowledge that and to restart conversations about what's been, from an engineering standpoint, quite a challenge for the agency. This beach poses very unique conditions that perhaps weren't as well thought out as they hoped would be. They're going to have their engineering peer reviewed and have recommendations from outside consultants to determine the best practices that can be brought to fix the conditions of the beach to the extent that they can be fixed. And that there'll be a series of public meetings in which they'll present those recommendations to the community and also discuss other aspects of the beach, including Phase 2 and the repairs planned for Winthrop Shore Drive and the infrastructure. I believe the speaker was grateful and honest and quite pleased with the report that he received on this, and I think that we've reached a new level of conversation about the beach, where the commissioner is willing to own the responsibility of what we have as the condition of the beach and what the responsibilities of his agency will be going forward. I don't know if you care to add to that.
Yeah, it was a great meeting. I think Commissioner Roy is very, just as you described, he's very open and willing to come to the town. He wants to come to Winthrop with his team to hear from the community, and we talked about having him come to one of our meetings very shortly, maybe even the next one, depending on scheduling, as the first pass to start the conversation again about the different steps that can be taken. So we're working on trying to schedule something like that. He wants to also have other meetings. I think he talked about 3 or 5 meetings between now and September. He'd like to come to the community to just tell them what he's thinking. And he talked about how he realized how upset the community rightfully is about the condition of the beach and the outcome of the project, and he's willing to take that. But he's also hoping to be having a constructive conversation with the community about how to move forward and fix the problem. And we also talked about even longer term fixing the beach, maintaining the beach. We talked about that and how important that is, and getting that budgeted and all of that. So I think that it was a really good meeting, and we look forward to the next steps.
So all in all, I was happy that he was willing to engage at that level with us, and I look forward to furthering that conversation and having those details brought to the town so we can all understand what the next steps would be for that agency.
Yeah. Council Biaggi?
Did he talk about a revenue stream to fund the fixes of what might have gone wrong? Are they going to fund that, or?
We didn't talk about revenue. We talked about the need to fix what went wrong. The first thing, identify what went wrong, because we talked about was it an engineering study flaw, or was it something else that went wrong with it? Was it the material?
It's a mixture of material, or
so we didn't get into the level of like where the money's going to come from to fix it. I think we're assuming. I think that it's not coming from us. Or maybe not directly. It's but we didn't get into that level of discussion with them.
I think that we certainly walked away with the impression that there was a commitment to fix what needs to be fixed, and whatever it takes to fix that those resources will be identified.
Yeah, I will say too. Town Manager McKenna brought some great material. They had photographs of the beach and the condition of the beach from the previous day, in a memo outlining the very things that we're talking about here in terms of a strategy going forward. So that was really good.
Thank you. Many of you know the ferry has started. We're very excited about it. I hope some of you have had a chance to take a ride on the ferry. We've begun a soft opening, as we call it, for training purposes and adjusting to becoming familiar with the operation of a transportation business, because that's what we're in now. We've taken 288 passengers in this past week. We certainly have to improve on those numbers, but all in all, by great measure, it's all been positive experience. So we're grateful for the core group that's been taking the ferry, and we hope to spread the gospel that we have a wonderful vessel that is now available for folks going to and from Boston. We are planning to have an event, a more formal event, to announce the opening of the ferry service on May 26th at 11 o'clock for a luncheon and a ride on the boat. So we hope that people will come and partake in that event. We are in discussions with the JFK Library with the potential of servicing folks from Boston. As on our return trips, we've discovered that we can easily swing by, without too much of a challenge, the JFK Library. So we're talking to those folks about the possibility of bringing folks from Boston to JFK as part of our return trip. And that could prove to be a very important aspect of financing this vessel operation. I want to thank the MBTA for meeting with us and quickly responding to our need to have bus service coming into the landing and dropping people off, and making a good connection for folks who need to get to the landing in the morning or get picked up at the evening. We already know that many folks are, in fact, using that bus service. So we're grateful for the MBTA to be as responsive as they have been. And obviously, we need to market the ferry and the town and do a very robust effort to market this wonderful asset and the town as a whole. So we're entertaining all thoughts and ideas. Tangi Safuni is heading up that effort. In the next month, you'll see a big billboard out on Route 1A about our ferry. So we've got a billboard going out for a couple months, but we need to do more than that. And so any thoughts, ideas, we might reach out. We're all ears. And we may need to get some professional assistance as well, so that we can make the most of this important feature of our community.
Yeah. I heard that, I mentioned to you earlier, that one of the owners of a business in Winthrop is taking their employees out on a ferry later in the day, going out to dinner and things like that. So that might be an interesting thing for other people related to the Chamber of Commerce to consider doing over the summer.
We need to team up with restaurants and inns and all the folks who serve in any way the outside folks, tourism or if they want to use the ferry as a way to promote their business. We would certainly want to see that encourage some promotion campaigns.
Councilor Terry.
On the ferry, I did see the pamphlets that are out and about. I didn't see a price on any of them.
Yeah, the new one will have that. That was just a very early.
No, there's a little brochure also,
right.
But I thought we had discussed, and I think it's necessary. I mean, $850 is a lot of money. I think we should offer incentives, especially at the beginning now. I think that's a lot of money for $17 for a round trip to go into Boston. I think we should offer incentives, whether it be just on the weekends to offer incentives or for everybody at the beginning to get usage up and let people get out there. If it's 200, what did you say, 288
passengers
this week, and if there's 6 runs a day, at 5 days, how many days? 5 days, 30 days. That's 10 people a trip, which isn't really very good. Which we know it's a soft opening, but I think we should encourage people, and I think an incentive is a good way to do that. I'd rather have 30 people paying $5 than 10 people paying $8.50, and letting people go out, get out there and see. I mean, today the weather's lousy, and the weather plays a part in it, but I think we should offer incentives to people to try this, and whether it be, I don't know what it is, $5, whatever it is, but I think that's pretty steep right now to just get people to start it. I think you have to incentivize, have an incentive for people to try this, and I'd like to have some sort of reduced fare, at least for the first 3 months or whatever it is.
Well, I certainly would take direction from the council on that. We have, that's the going rate of all the water, ferry services.
Well, I know for land, for example, it's the same rate, and it's
Yes.
half the distance.
Yeah.
So they're getting double the distance for the same price.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, again, if you're having 10 or 15 people on the boat, it's better to have 30 at half the price.
Half the time, too. But,
I think Jim's, Councilor Terry's point is a good one. I think we're talking about probably it's just, if somebody goes because it was $5 instead of $8.50, and then they'll become enamored of the entire trip, and maybe they'll do more later on or something like that. So it's an interesting idea, I think.
I think it's always good to try it out, and you want to get people on there. The best way to do it is to give them an incentive to do it. I mean, I'd love to see a full boat every morning, as I'm sure would you.
Yeah. Council Cal?
Yes. So I did take a trip on the boat, and it was a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed it. The boat's fabulous. And the feedback that I got from the people that were on the boat thought it was terrific that they didn't have to drive into Boston, pay through the tunnel, and then to try to park somewhere, let alone try to find a place to park, then pay $30 to park your car for dinner. They felt like that it was a real value, and they really, really enjoyed it, and they felt that we should do more to advertise, which I see that we are going to do. And, I don't know if $5 is feasible, but, maybe $6 or $7 or $1 off or something, or a senior discount, or I think you have children's fare.
We do,
Yeah, I know you have some fares and so forth.
Children, two children per adult ride free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's great.
Council Sanford?
I think, again, it's a soft opening. I think there's a lot of approaches and different marketing from different points of view. I'm just excited to have it here, right now. And I think there's going to be lots of incentives. There's going to be lots of cross-marketing with the chamber and other businesses in town relative to restaurant dinners and a cruise or going into Boston. But there's going to be a lot of things happening. And I'd rather see the price at $8 right now. When you drive into Orient Heights, you have to park, I don't know what parking is nowadays. $5. And then you take the T is what? $2.50, so you got another $5 both ways.
Yeah.
So you're talking $10. So it's a much nicer trip. I think as time goes on, I'd rather go down with the price at some point. But I think $8 is where we should be. If we're $5 and we had to go up to $8, then that might be an issue with discouraging people. So I think we need to leave it in the hands of the manager right now. I think we all have to have input, but there's going to be a campaign put together. There's going to be marketing put together. So it's not just a ferry going in and out of Boston right now. It's a collaborative effort to market and to campaign. And I think it's a big part of what Winthrop's going to be about.
Yeah, good point.
I think that's great. Are there volume discounts, like if you buy?
Yes, I believe that on the website we'll be transitioning to where there is a discount if you buy so many tickets. I don't quote me on it right now, but I believe there's some information that'll be on the website.
Great.
No.
And one other thing too is like the alternative to going into Boston and paying for a cab, what that costs you. That costs you more than $8 a ticket, per person. But I was wondering if there'd been any thought or any conversation about doing a stop over at Seaport
Yes, there has been.
for the restaurants there,
Yes.
because that's such a big attraction.
Yes, we are exploring whether that's viable for us or not.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And real quickly, there's going to be a subcommittee of transportation, and that's going to be in part to do with the ferry, with the routes of the buses, with possible bikes and zip cars, and there's a whole bunch of things happening, a lot of moving parts, as Jim always says. So this is just the infancy of what we're trying to accomplish as a community. I think it's a real good plus for us.
So as we go through this soft opening, feel free to give us any commentary or criticism that you have, and we'll take that to heart and figure out how we best position this important asset. We have proposed the Millerfield matter before the council. Tonight you would be endorsing a vote to put a question on the ballot you're not voting for funding tonight. That funding vote would come later when we would determine, the final cost and then have you vote on that funding article. But our intent is to provide that to you in a few weeks when we're all set on what that is going to be. But the necessary for publication and for notice about the vote itself, it was necessary that we tee this up now so that the clerk had substantial time to issue a ballot and to get proper notices in place for that election. So just so you know that there is a difference in terms of those two issues.
Councilor Biaggi.
How soon, I'm just hoping we can give Mr. Fabiano the information he needs, meaning how much funding we're going to go for.
We're extremely close
great.
on all of that information. We should have it within the week.
Okay.
We're meeting tomorrow as a team to finalize it. Yeah. And as well, we proposed to have the council review and perhaps refer to your public safety subcommittee matters with respect to parking and issues concerning the TSAC memorandum that we asked for you to review and consider, because it matters will, again, feed into the Millerfield final issue, because we will have to finance whatever you determine to be an appropriate action for the requests put forth in that memorandum by TSAC. So that's an important matter that needs to be taken up in earnest. I'd like to congratulate the new Winthrop Beach Inn and Suites for opening. This is the former Suburban Hotel that's now advertising. I'll pass that around. It seems that it's quite a wonderful place. And
where is that?
If the council meetings go past midnight, I know where I'm staying. So I congratulate them for their new opening. And again, with the ferry, I mean, that's the sort of important linkage between these places that offer wonderful accommodations to team up with us in terms of advertising. We have signed a preliminary agreement with the DCR on the Belle Isle project, and that's really good news. So now we can begin the process of engineering and permitting that marine and ecology walkway as we've submitted to you folks for approval. That's great news for us to begin that process and have gotten the funding available to do it. And then, as Superintendent Massaro had mentioned, I was going to also mention the Rowan Mail Town Scholarship, that we ask folks to please support that and to make contribution through checks to the town treasurer so we can add to that scholarship. Thank you.
Councilor Taylor.
Since we have Steve here too, can we just go over, I know there's been a lot of information out and Steve did a great job with his communication to us, but just for people out there, can we just talk about the water issue?
Sure.
Not an issue, but
yeah,
the potential.
Steve, you want to discuss that matter?
Sure. So we all saw the article in the Boston Globe, which essentially try to make our lead sampling program comparable to the crisis that's going on in Flint, Michigan. Two very, very separate situations. Our water is some of the best quality water in the country, and I put out a memo to try to a letter just to try to reassure everybody about our collaborative efforts with the MWRA on a day-to-day basis, the sampling that's involved, the pristine water that we get from the Quabbin and the Wachusett reservoirs. And Flint, Michigan tragedy again was just a poor decision, and they didn't properly sample. They had no corrosion protection before they reactivated that water source strictly as a means to save money. It was just very, very different than what's occurring under the MWRA's 51 communities that they serve. So our water, again, is absolutely some of the best water in the country.
Now, there are a couple of issues that we follow up on regarding lead service, and we're encouraging residential conversion from lead to safer materials. Steve, you want to mention that?
Absolutely. So, again, Mass DEP requires us to identified all of our lead services and come up with a plan to eliminate lead services throughout our distribution system. Currently, of the 4,487 services that we have about 900 that are partial or full lead services. They're being monitored. We provide free testing for anybody that has a lead or partial lead service. It's totally free of charge. If you don't know if you have a lead service, you can call the DEP, the Department of Public Works, and we will gladly look up the records and tell you whether or not you have a lead service. If you do want sampling done, the exceedance level, the action level is 15 parts per billion. So we'll sample your water, we'll send it to the MWRA labs. If the sample comes above 15 parts per billion, we will immediately replace the town side of the service, which is from the water main to the property line, and we will give you an opportunity at a cost to replace the private portion, which is from the property line to your meter. That's essentially the program. Since the 9 years that I've been here, we've removed over 750 services through the Mass DEP mandate and through our water main replacement projects, which we remain committed to. It's part of our planning as to what water mains get replaced next. We're always looking at lead services. And, if you do have a lead water service and it tests below the action level, and you have young children in the house, it doesn't mean that the service won't be replaced. It's just, we may not do it immediately. We do recommend that you flush your water for 1 to 2 minutes before eating or brushing your teeth, just as a precaution for young children. They're primarily the most affected is pregnant women and young children. Again, I also want to let you know that even if you have a full copper service, the potential for lead is in everybody's house. If you have old plumbing or old solder that contained lead before it was required to be lead-free, the potential is still in your home. So, start being proactive potentially in your own house with renovations and upgrades. Looking at your plumbing fixtures and your faucets and things like that. But we're watching it too, and we're here to help. And that's really all I have to say about it. But we do have some of the best water in the country.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
One item for the town manager, because the clock's ticking, but we have budgets due this week, and I know we're going to be getting them, but I just want to let people know we have been working diligently on the budget. We've had several meetings already with the Finance Commission. Already the schools, library, police, fire, and emergency management have been before the Finance Commission. There's another meeting tomorrow night at 6.
Here.
In this room here, for DPW, water, sewer, inspectional services. So if anybody has any questions or concerns, feel free to please come to the meetings, as well as we should be getting our budgets this week, I believe.
Thank you. Great. The school department update, I give this, we have the 2 experts here. They could probably give this better than I could, but I'll just highlight a couple of things. But there were 2 meetings since we had last met. There was a meeting on April 11th, and that's when the Miller Field Committee came to the school committee. I was going to mention that, and it was a great presentation, filled with information, and it was helpful. Another important thing that the school committee did at that meeting was to name 2 portions of the new high school. One of them is the Center for Performing Arts has been named for Neil Shapiro, which everybody probably already knows, which is wonderful. And for those of us who went on the tour, we saw the Learning Commons, which is a really neat area in the school where kids can kind of hang out, but it's beautiful. This whole kiosk area where there are computers, and the school committee voted to name that the Norma and Paul Fasella Learning Commons, and they are the folks who left such generous scholarships to the town. So another really good thing. We talked also about a whole lot of other things, business things. We talked about the new school, timing of the expectation of that. At the 425 meeting, Superintendent Massaro updated us about, that park and MCAS are beginning. So this is the first time that the schools are going to be using the park system. So some classes are using park. I think it's grades 3 to 8. And some of the classes are using MCAS for different other portions of it. So that's beginning. Graduation is on June 3rd, and so that's a big day. Those of us on the school committee get to wear a gown, I think, or something like that. So very excited.
Town council can come and wear one.
Town council, everybody should come to that. So, and that'll be at the.
And where is that going to be?
That is June 3rd.
So we're going to have a quorum today?
What's that? It's at Miller Field. There's a rain date for the next day, if it rains. It'll be on the 4th, but outside also, right? And if it rains on that Sunday, what do we do?
We'll just keep going.
Keep going. Bring umbrellas.
Just don't use the visitors' seats.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's a high-level summary of that. Yeah.
Since we're just talking about the schools for a second, and since the chairwoman is here, I just want to congratulate Dawn on running the Boston Marathon, as well as the other residents of Winthrop.
Good. So now we're into old business. We have on here Economic Development Citizens Advisory Committee. I don't know that there's anything on that. That was put there as a placeholder in case we needed it. So we have a motion to, the first motion is a motion that's come out of committee to move the council, I move that the council vote the use of sewer retained earnings in the amount of $400,000 for the purpose of replacing sewer mains on Franklin Street pending MWRA loan authorization or take any other action hereto. Coming out of committee, doesn't require a second. I make the motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. The second item under old business similarly is a motion to move $250,000. I'll make the motion to the town council transfer $250,000 from the water meter upgrade project fund 900 to 902 water fund article number 90252580026 to fund the radio read meter project or take any other action relative thereto. Committee requires no second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So now we're on to new business. There are a number of items here, and I think some of them will refer to committee, and some of them we, I think, can take up here tonight because they're under the, is it $25,000 limit. The first motion under new business is the motion to move that $427,000 is appropriated for the purpose of financing the engineering, design, and replacement of aged sewer main and service connections on Harvard and Franklin Streets, and to design and engineer improvements in the Center Business District, including all costs incidental or related thereto, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the town manager, is authorized to borrow $427,000 and issue bonds on notes of the town under Chapter 44 of the general laws or any other enabling authority, that the treasurer, with the approval of the town manager, is authorized to borrow all or a portion of such money from the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, and in connection therewith to enter into a loan agreement or financial assistance agreement with the authority, and otherwise to contract with the authority with respect to such loan and for any grants or aid available for the project or for the financing thereof, which grants and or aid shall be expended for the project in addition to the amount appropriated and to be borrowed under this order. And that the town manager is authorized to acquire by purchase, eminent domain, or otherwise such rights, titles, and easements as they may be necessary for such purpose, to abandon such rights, titles, and easements as are no longer required, to expend all funds available for the project, and to take any other action necessary or convenient to carry out this project.
Motion to refer.
Motion to refer.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. None, rather. The second motion under new business is a motion to move that the town council vote a budgetary transfer of $207,801.08 from group insurance to fund the year-end 1-week payroll June 26th to June 30th, or take any other action relative thereto.
Motion. Second.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Can I ask the clerk if she can post a meeting for 6:30 on May 2nd?
For both
With those
of
two items?
For both of those.
Either we also advertise those. Do we have time to advertise those?
No.
We don't have time, we only have 1 week.
But for the new ordinance issued, if we post them correctly, they don't have to necessarily be in the newspaper.
It's final action, so you need to advertise prior to final action. So you can still have a meeting,
Right.
but they can't be taken up that night.
So we'll have to wait for the following
Right.
meeting.
Yeah, it can be finally voted.
So, do you want the meeting then, or do you want?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yep.
Okay. Thank you. The next item under new business is to move that the town council vote the use of free cash in the amount of $20,400 to fund the May unbudgeted elections for the town clerk's office by funding account number 011-6151-512005 election personnel, or take any other action relative thereto. This is the May 12th election for the Senate.
Make the
Motion to approve it.
Motion to approve, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Next item is to move that the town council vote the use of town council reserve in the amount of $15,660 to fund the subcontract for traffic improvement designs for Kennedy Drive, or take any other action relative thereto. Do we have a motion? Oh, wait, that's a motion.
to approve.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Next motion, to move that the town council vote the use of free cash in the amount of $8,000 to fund special article number 0196052-588-096 fiscal year 16 ordinance review expenses, or take any other action thereto.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next one, to move that the town council transfer $4,000 from the town council reserve account 011-052-576100 to Veterans Agent Contract Services, account 01543-52-544350, for the purposes of funding veterans' benefits through June 30th, 2016, or take any other action thereto.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
I was going to approve, not to refer, right? The motion.
Yes.
Approved.
Yeah, approved, that's, yeah, all of those.
The last four approved.
Yeah. Now we go to the Miller Field motion, and this is the motion that the town council call for a special election to be held on June 21st, 2016, with the following question on the ballot. Shall the town of Winthrop be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called, the amounts required to pay for the bonds to be issued in order to pay the balance of the costs of the so-called Miller Field Lewis Lake project, which includes tidegate improvements, lake dredging and expansion, and additional stormwater storage within the drainage area of Lewis Lake, and further, including the demolition and removal of existing facilities at Miller Field, and the design, engineering, permitting, construction, furnishing, and equipping of a new track and field and related facilities at Miller Field, including all costs incidental and related thereto.
I'll make the motion.
Motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion? Councilor Terry?
Let me stop by, is this, can you talk about tennis courts?
That's been referred to the TSAC memorandum that you would refer to committee to be taken up as a separate matter.
It's not on the agenda, but we were going to...
But you may decide that that's a matter you want to include in the budgeting for this, and that's when we would determine a figure that we would propose for that. But that's not included in this matter tonight. This is just merely calling for an election of a debt exclusion vote. It's not incorporating the tennis courts and the parking issue tonight.
So the vote is for having this election, but the numbers that we've been looking at in all of the proposals have included the cost of...
We have put that out there as a matter to be considered, but you have not given directive on that yet, so you need to do that. So we've asked that you refer to the TSAC memorandum that we've sent out to you, and that you consider that you refer to the subcommittee of public safety, I believe, and to public works, and that you make a recommendation on that matter to your full body.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right, no, go ahead.
No, go to Rich.
I guess one of the things would be, I'd really like to get the numbers next week and put it for a vote on our next, because if, you know, to vote how, you know, the funding as well, it would be nice to be able to put that on the next council meeting so that we, you know, follow it up succinctly with the amount, if you think we'll have it in the next week.
The urgency of this question was really a practical matter of when to have enough 35 days notice so that we can call an election and have it. I believe the 21st still allows for 1 week consideration by the council. So if you wanted to delay your vote till next
I don't want to delay this vote, but I really would like to push to get the financial, so that we can, you know, so we know what we're, you know, what we need to put on the amount as well as just the placeholder. You know, that's all. I don't want to delay this vote. I meant...
We have final figures. We're going to confirm them tomorrow morning and then be able to present
That'd be
them to the
great,
council.
great. I just mean, I'd like to see that as a motion at the next meeting, that's all, the final figures.
Well, we don't ask for them in the motion. You don't vote
Not
that
this one.
figure. Right.
Yeah.
The challenge with that is that we give you a range of where these numbers may fall.
Mhm.
The fact is, we'll never bond that exact number.
Right.
We go through a bidding process, and hopefully, we're wildly conservative in our numbers and come down and
Right.
have a better number for the actual bonding itself. All you do is authorize us within a range of figures what you know that expense is going to be, similar to what you did with the schools.
Right.
Yeah, we did not to exceed.
Well, that's what I meant, I'm
Right.
sorry, yeah.
Right.
I'd just like to vote on that
Right.
sooner than later, too.
But you don't vote for an actual
Correct,
figure.
right.
So, am I to understand that we could potentially vote to put Millerfield on the ballot, and it potentially could not include the tennis courts?
Yes,
Yeah.
you could.
But I think you need to do both together.
Sorry?
So there's no guarantee that the tennis courts are going to be done?
Absolutely not. You haven't voted on that yet.
No, I understand
You
that.
need to do that, yeah. If you're going to include it in as part of the project, that needs to be referred to your subcommittee and referred up as a matter of whether or not you
That can be
include that in
added
the
into
figures
We
of
just
the
need the
project.
placeholder now. I'd support
But back to the point that I was asking, I think when we had the presentation at the school committee, and I asked that question, that is the cost of doing the tennis court included in the numbers that were presented?
Yes, we have baked them into the full amount
Right.
simply for reasons of presentation.
Right, but
But
just...
you
but
have
we-
not voted on.
So we need a
but-
formality.
Right, so the numbers that we saw then were inclusive of that. We just need to take other action if we are to include that.
Yes,
I see.
exactly.
I saw a little of the school committee meeting. Now, I have a concern with maintenance. I mean, there's been issues in the past with maintenance, and this is $9 million potentially, and it's got to be maintained. I think the taxpayers deserve that, and the town deserves that. Have we had any maintenance arrangements, or do we know who is going to be responsible for maintaining?
Well, it just so happens that I've had conversations with the school committee about it, some members of the school committee, and we are both under the same understanding that the town has consolidated its maintenance and facilities operations, essentially under the jurisdiction of Rich Safuni, and he answers to Steve Calla. That also has Superintendent Sarah involved in those decisions as well. But that arrangement of resources continues to work well today. And that will be the same arrangement that will apply to any facility under our jurisdiction. So we certainly don't think that it will be a problem of looking for ways to make sure that this facility is going to be managed and maintained just as recent success in management and maintenance has been done within the schools these past few years under the new arrangement of directive and supervision that has been installed by the superintendent and Mr. Calla. So anything going forward would still fall under that rubric of management. And I believe that has proven to be successful, and it should be successful as far as this facility is concerned. How those management responsibilities are divided up is yet to be determined, but certainly I believe that the intent is there, and it's been expressed tonight by, I think, the chairman of the school committee, that we're going to continue to work together cooperatively to put in place the best practices we can to ensure that that facility is the pride of this community and not neglected, as unfortunately has led to a number of problems with facilities in the past. We've, I think, changed, really have come a long way over the past few years in terms of how we maintain buildings and facilities. And I think this culture of one that we've established with the schools and the Steve Calla and his department has worked very well for fields, for the exterior of properties. You've seen the success around town. That I have no doubt that will continue to apply to this facility as well.
Council Biagi? Council Biagi?
Do we think that can be done with the current level of personnel? I guess that would be more my concern.
We'll have to evaluate that, and it may be that we need to consider additional resources with respect to that.
And it's also possible that this new facility will bring in additional revenues.
Right. To offset that.
So,
yep.
I mean, the full operations of it, of course, depend on the scope of the project, which is...
Sure.
Council Calla?
Yeah, I think it's obvious the committee has come here again before the council to try to get this going, get this project moving, and they're anxious to get started. And, I just can't see us putting it off again and again. Let the people of the town of Winthrop, the voters, decide what they want to do, but you got to put it out there, and they need direction so they can get started. So I'm for moving it, the question tonight.
Are there other questions?
Support the tennis ball. Put on the ballot.
Hearing none? I'll mention, my take on this, and I voted against this the last time. I'm going to vote for this time, and it really is so that we can put it out to the community. My concerns I've expressed about whether or not the citizens, the voters, are feeling the appetite for such a thing. It's time to find out, and I say that because I think in the last couple of months since we've been discussing this, much work has been done. The committee's done a ton of work. We've gotten a lot more information. We have much more information tonight than we did when we last broached this. So I agree, I think it's time for people in the town to take this vote, and if it passes, we'll move forward. If it doesn't, we'll pause. And that's where we're at.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the questions are going to be answered, whether it's maintenance or whether it's the finances, and other questions that are raised here tonight by the council and maybe by some of the general public will be answered going forward. I think it's very important that we move the question also.
Are there any other questions, comments? Then we have a motion, we have a second. It's a roll call vote. This requires a 2/3 vote of the council. So we'll take the roll call.
Council Ingman? Council Calla?
Yes.
Council Sanford?
Yes.
Council Boncory? Council Barone? Council Boyajin?
Yes.
Council Davento?
Yep.
Vice President Lettieri?
Yes.
President Driscoll?
Yes. Very good. We need to make a, move the parking, the tennis court matter. This is not on the agenda, I don't
Right, I asked for it, it was a late matter submitted to you, but I need to get it referred out to the subcommittee, public safety subcommittee.
The joint.
Joint committee.
Right.
So let's, has everybody had a chance to see this? I have it here. It was included in the Dropbox, I think.
It was emailed to.
So I will take a motion to refer the recommendation of the town manager regarding parking at the new school on Main Street. to
I'll make a
the
motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I would want to say that those are draft minutes. That's why they were late coming to me. They may have a slight adjustment in those minutes from final approval from TSAC this week. So just be aware that we'll be submitting a final set of minutes for you to consider.
Will we have it by next
Yes,
meeting?
correct.
Okay.
So not those then?
Not yet.
No, you can still refer to it, please. But
So we'll
there may be
see if
some
we'll-
slight modification.
Okay, great. Public comment? Any other public comment? Yes, Superintendent Massaro. Oh, I'm sorry. No, oh, age before beauty.
I want to thank the council for moving forward on the field tonight, and I think it's a great move, and I want to thank our committee for pushing it forward. I also want to take the opportunity to, regarding the flags on Veterans Road, to recognize and thank Cheryl Howard for coming up with the idea, and then Cheryl and Richie Honan putting together a committee to raise the funds, which they did to do that, and to Steve and the DPW for their assistance. It looks great.
It does. I was going to mention that at the end of the meeting, but those flags on Veterans Road look beautiful. I have so many friends and people I know in town who've said, oh, I go to this town and I see all these flags all over, and why don't we have that? And I called several of them when I went down Veterans Road on Saturday and said, we have them. It looks
By the way,
really
they're
nice.
talking about moving forward with another,
Good.
looking for more money.
It really, it's wonderful. So, Superintendent.
Thank you. I just wanted to address publicly Mr. Lettieri's concern in regards to the maintenance. I know that in the past, when we put the new school to the ballot, that was a huge question at that time. We're opening up the new school in September with more maintenance folks that are employed into that school. There'll be 7 people at the high school. We've also hired a school operations manager just for the purposes of that school that we're working with Rich Safuni and Steve Calla. And as Miller Field progresses and the track and all of that, yes, we will need to add additional there, but we will work again, as we have, to consolidate and make sure that we have the proper maintenance for these facilities to excel for years to come. So, thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
Just if I could, the Explorers are having a fundraiser. Check out our Facebook page, Dueling Pianos at Cottage Park Yacht Club, $20 a ticket. That's to help get them to their next conference in July, so all donations are appreciated. It's a great event. Also on the 18th of this month, next month, May, we're having a forum at the Memorial Auditorium, the Superintendent of Schools, the Police Department, CASA, Community Against Substance Abuse, the Fire Chief, and another among the department heads will also be present. We'll be discussing opiate issues in our community. We'll be discussing youth, and the youth diversion program will be announced that night, and social media for parents, and what parents really need to understand about social media. So they get 3 great presentations. We're going to try to limit them so we impact the community the most in the least amount of time.
Yeah. What night is that again? What
that is Wednesday. John knows it better than I.
Wednesday, May
18th at 6:30 to 8.
That sounds like a great
And again,
program.
there's attorneys lending us their social media expert for that night. So we'll have the peer recovery team there speaking what they actually do as well. So please, I encourage all the counselors as well as everyone they run into to get the word out for us.
Great. Any other public comment? We've done public relations, upcoming events. There's a spring festival in the center on May 1st. It's Cinco de Mayo Day. We have on here, Winthrop fireworks, July something.
Save the date.
July 3rd,
July
and 4th.
something. Yeah. But the other thing
Save the
too,
weekend.
people can donate to that, right?
Oh, yes,
Chief?
I appreciate it, thank you for bringing it up, we are raising money for fireworks. Checks can be made out to Winthrop Fireworks and mailed to 40 Pauline Street.
Okay.
Are they allowed to tell you which day they prefer when they make the donation?
Post date, Chad.
Is that?
Any other public comments from
No bot
councils? Okay, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Adjourn. Thank you very much.